that light is at the end of the tunnel, and sometimes that purpose is walking you to your calling.
And what's so powerful as a segue is the next segment with the Kamau leads is how should I proceed? Right. When we talk about somebody else seeing your calling before you do, right? In this next segment is our community members giving their perspectives, their own things that they're going on with life. And we attempt to connect our own stories to give advice and give perspective, but using our own like individual experience. So hopefully in this next segment, we can do that. We can see a calling in somebody else's struggle, like see a light in somebody else's darkness. So Kamau, go ahead and lead us through.
I think that was a great segue, great introduction. So I'm just going to jump right in. From a listener, do you ever feel like you just aren't going anywhere in life? I'm 35. I still don't know what I want to do in life or career. I thought I wanted to be a programmer, but after 3 years of programming, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't like office work or manual labor. Is this normal? Am I screwed at this point? How should I proceed?
Yee, hey boy, hey, I feel you. The only thing I could go to is when I was and what the quote that comes to my mind, and this was in the last segment as well, is Carl Jung. He said that only a tree whose branch for a tree's branches to reach heaven, its roots must descend down into hell. So like the light you reach is equivalent to the darkness you experience. So the first thing I go to is in teaching, like, boy, it's some dark days. Talk about like fourth Monday. It's like the 32nd Monday of the year. And it's still like, it's just like you going
that
through,
part.
right?
That
Where
part.
you're looking at this job that may be fulfilling in some spaces. There's light to it, but there's so many parts where you're like, this ain't it. This ain't it. And when I tell you, so you're programming for 3 years, I'll ask you, is there still light in that job? Because my light was the experience with the students while I was developing the skill of actually being able to teach. Like I had to go through the struggles of all these different things that were trash that I didn't like about my job, that I still don't like about the teaching profession, to be able to experience the light, to be able to have the parts that I love. And then still, that was a time period of my life. That was 7 years. And it took 7 years to get close to a point where I would consider it mastery. And I don't consider myself a master teacher, but I approached the understanding of, okay, these are what masters look like, and this is what it takes to get there. And I see what the effect of being a master at something has on the community, has on the effect it has on me, because the effect I'm able to have on other people, because I've mastered this thing. So the only thing that goes to my mind is, and I'm a little bit different in the sense of, don't waste your 3 years, my G. Don't waste the skills you developed in those 3 years. Don't throw it away because it ain't it today. I would start saying, okay, I've developed this for 3 years. How do I leverage it for what I'm doing next? But I would say leave that position, leave programming being nasty at that skill. Be raw at programming. And then you'll be able to breathe deeper because you know that, okay, at least financially, that's not a concern because I'm nasty at what I do. Now let me look at, okay, where else can I navigate? Where else can I move to? Because when you don't have money in this Western world, it strangles you, right? You can't even breathe oxygen well because you're like, I can't eat, I can't survive. So my main thing is like lean in, leave with the coldness of that skill. So no matter what, did you go into these different spaces, you be like, okay, let me get a programming job real quick for 6 months. Let me get my bread up and let me move forward. So I'm coming with you real practical. Leave that programming job with a nasty skill.
You know, when you were reading that prompt, what popped in my head is really a question. So it's taking a different approach. And I want to ask that writer who wrote that prompt in, what did you used to love? And that's the question that I want to start for our palette for what I'm about to put down. because you are not happy, you are not satisfied with this program and job, I say leave too, because I've been there and I know what it feels like to be in an environment where you feel like you don't belong. You feel that you just don't like the work, as simple as that. And when you ask your question, what you used to love, that's almost like taking a gap year almost with the work and getting back to something that you love that can also, pay you money, right? Maybe you used to be in love with the sport, maybe take up coaching just in that time as you find something else to move you forward, to bring in maybe the same amount of cash or even more than your programming job. But I want you to ask yourself that question, because that's going to bring you peace, that's going to bring you happiness, and that's going to really like just nail you down in the ground and keep you grounded as you continue to look for what's next. Because what you don't want to do is just drop everything, leave quickly, and now you find yourself maybe in a more depressive state because you might have to move back in an environment that wasn't so good to you because you left a job a little too early. So again, ask yourself that question, what did you used to love, and get back to that just for the time to bring you peace and keep the cash flow as you're looking for what's next.
Man, that was a really good answer. What I like about what you said is discovering what the listener loved first, like asking himself or themselves what their vision was for their life. Because at some point, coding was an interest. You thought you wanted to do it, and so you did it. I'll kind of go back to what we were talking about earlier with very segment. God uses everything. God uses everything. And the door is always smaller than the room. So you think you don't like it because based on the vision that you have for yourself. And if you don't like it, that's your truth. We celebrate that, we honor that. I'm a bit radical with it. So I don't know that you want to take my advice. My advice is I would rather pursue my own dreams and take all the heat, all the smoke that comes with being authentically me and pursuing that than I would to be a slave building somebody else's. And not everybody can move that way, and I respect it. I respect it. I honor that. Not everybody can move that way. But going back to Carl Jung, what he said that I think is so powerful, he said the greatest privilege in life is becoming who you truly are. And I think, layering that in, little sandwich technique, really is you got to discover where that vision is, brother. You got to discover where's the there, what's alive inside of you, and take a census on that. And I promise you, if you can find the connection to where you are from where you were, that will propel you to where you're going. If you can find out, well, how did I get here? What was it about this? Because I'm telling you, your desires are not by happenstance. You didn't just happen to have the interest to learn how to code. You didn't just fall into like, I like this, systems, I like processes, I like things. There's a there there. There's a there there. It may not seem like it, right? Because again, everybody else is living their dream. They're doing the things that you think you're missing. Shut all of that out. Shut all of that out, all of the comparative analysis of, well, my friend is doing this and this person's doing that. They have a podcast. Shut all of that out and get in your head and ask yourself, what do I enjoy? What do I love? Because I'm going to tell you, man, that space is where you meet God. God is the creator. God is the creator. And when you figure out how you create, it's up. It's up. It's up. So I would say very much like we all have shared, take those skills because there was something that led you there. And kind of leave with the knowledge of knowing that the door is smaller than the room. Everything adds up. Everything adds up. Nothing is wasted in life, man. So build from there. But if you bold like me, I have failed a lot of times in life, mostly because I wasn't afraid to. I would rather die in the pursuit of my dream and my purpose than to live a day in yours, because it's nothing I can do there. So I'm like, listen, bro. Practicality, I get that. That's what we need to feel comfortable, and structure and discipline and process and all of that is that has its place. I tend to be a bit more radical in my faith. Faith is a movement for me. I don't live in a house. I live in a tent, because God will move you at any time. And you got to be ready to pack that thing up and go to the next battlefield and conquer. That's how I live my life, right? So, it's not for everybody, but it's for me. Faith is a movement. It's an action verb. You can't stand still and say you believe in anything. So find out what you believe in within yourself and pursue that. Pursue that with all costs. Go, all gas, no brakes.
The listener asked 2 questions here at the end. Is this normal? Am I screwed? Yes, this is normal. No, you're not screwed. Pivoting is a part of life, and I love how Marcus just ended his talking about the tent, that faith is a movement, that there is not one place, that there is not a there, that it is a continual movement. And so, yeah, it's normal. It's absolutely normal to pivot. It's absolutely to change your mind, to change your heart. And it's very normal, especially in this space, to get a little bit closer to that call-in, to get a little bit closer to that purpose. It's not just a straight line drive. You got to pivot your way there. It's a series of turns and tweaks and movements to get in alignment. And so if that wasn't the place, or if it took you 3 years to realize that it was the place, that's okay. That's a part of the journey. Are you screwed? To me, I would love to tell you that you're not, but I really think that's actually something that you got to determine in your own mind, because whatever you believe is what's going to happen. If you believe you're screwed, you're screwed. It doesn't matter what your girlfriend, boyfriend, mom, dad, whomever believe, unless you believe it. So I don't think so. But at the same time, I think it's really going to come from that mind frame about how do I approach this pivot in my life. But there's hope, and I feel like it's what probably led you to that question is that you're 35, and what 35 means to the world or to society or to what other 35-year-olds are doing, where you're getting into that space where you're weighing your dominoes against somebody else's, or where they're supposed to be at this place in the game. I'm 35. I'm supposed to be winning already. I'm supposed to have it all figured out already. I don't think that's the case. And you just got to be cautious about that. Because another one of the things that I like that Marcus said is that you don't know what a person had to pay, what a person had to go through to be at that place in the game. You can't compare, because all you're seeing is what's readily public, but you don't see the privateness. And so it doesn't even make sense. It's not an apples to apples comparison. So bringing this into context, like, just because you're 35 and you're still trying to figure things out does not mean you're screwed. There's hope, but it takes some of that deep work. It takes some real visioning, and getting in alignment is not a straight line drive. It's a series of pivots.
I have one thing I want to say, if I could.
Yes,
please,
sir.
please.
Yes, sir.
Because what I'm hearing, I forgot those last 2 portions of that question. And I wanted to speak to this listener directly and to just let them know, like, what I'm hearing is discouragement. And I've been there. And what I know about discouragement is it's so bold that it greets you with a smile, right? People have no idea what you're going through, because you just show them, boy, I'm fine. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. And you go home screaming silently. Brother, please don't be discouraged. You listen, I'm 38. I'm not saying that I'm much older than you. You're 35. Live. Someone didn't make it to 17. Someone didn't make it to 18. It's a 6-year-old at Sandy Hook that didn't make it to 7. You've had more yeses than you've had no's. I just want you to understand that so much more in your life is blossoming, it's blooming. Life is a journey. There is no destination. There's a series of destinations. You grow, you glow, you evolve. I'm still learning at almost 40 years old the food that I enjoy eating.
Oh,
You would think that I would have it. I've been eating solid foods for over 30 years. You would think that I would have it figured out. But the reality of it is, life is different. There's different options. I can be a vegan now. I can be paleo. I can be keto. I can do all the things. So no, there's no there, brother. There's no there. But very much like Kamau said, there's this comparison factor that we have that makes us performative. I must be here because X is here. You don't know the springboard they had to getting there. You don't know the challenges. And I dare say, you think they're somewhere. You don't know where they are. Because in our culture, what I look like is who you receive me as. So please, man, listen, God's promise is to you, not your image, not your idea of you, who you think you're supposed to be, who you want us to see you as. God's promises are to you, and his answers are yes and amen. So I would just say very much like Zuri said, find where that bliss is, find what that fire is. But in order to do that, man, you got to get rid of all the smoke from everybody else's fire. Get off of Instagram. Stop scrolling. Stop comparing yourself to other people. We don't need any more versions of you. We need you. So just show up. And I promise you, like when you show up as yourself, the sun is brighter and warmer. The breeze is cooler. Like the birds sing louder. Like it all just fits. It all just makes sense. So no, please don't be discouraged, man. Please, my prayer for you in this moment and forever, for anybody that's discouraged, is that God gives you a genuine smile, because it carries you further in life. Because I'm gonna tell you, man, money is not the only currency. I know some exceptionally wealthy people. I was in the car with my mentor once. Kamau, you like this. I was in the car with my mentor once, and he was looking for a pen and pulled out a crumbled up $1 million a check for $1 million he had forgot he had in his pocket, and some sweatpants he had washed. He was like, "Oh." So I say that to say, you know, the people that you think you need to be, or the person you think you need to be, more often than not, that desire to grow, that desire to expand, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. It looks like, now I was a coder. Like for me, case in point, my story. I was in the military. I left the military, went to Homeland Security. I thought for certain I was going to be, one of the sleuths. I was going to work for the government forever. Left there, ended up getting recruited by Louis Vuitton. That led me in a completely different trajectory from Air Force intelligence, right? It opened up doors that led me to this moment, that gave me the insight to give to you, that gave me the words through my struggle. I'm trying to protect you from my mistakes, right? Please, man, be you. The moment we push away and give up this fight to defend an image or an idea of what we should be, we gain the privilege of being who we are. And that in and of itself, that is definitely worth living for. And in closing, I would say this: most of the victories that you truly, truly take in life, the things that you really win in life, many people will never know it, because it's all internal. My greatest victories have happened within. It's not something where somebody's going to stand up and follow you back and repost and retweet and clap for you and say, "Oh man, you did that." They would never know. They would never know. So I would say, amongst this culture saying work is ghetto and I can't do this anymore, I gotta watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. So, serve the moment, man. Serve the moment.
And man, this episode, this is a go ahead and run it back and listen to this episode multiple times. I know I'm going to, because I'm telling you, so dense with gems across the board. One line that y'all may be sleeping on, that's reverberating in my soul, is discouragement greets you with a smile.
Mm.
And don't forget that and that's you, Marcus. He said, don't forget that the devil is beautiful, right? When you living in your purpose, you going for all these different things, that somebody that loves you is going to be the one to be like, this may not be it for you, baby. You may need to pivot. And that should be the moment that you double down. So just, you're going to have to really know yourself in those moments when your mama can't see what you see and you're supposed to keep going forward. Because mama loves you, but she sacrificed so you could look at the world differently.
So what happens when you are the person that looks in the mirror and your
That's
own
what I'm saying. Come on, Zuri. Come on. Come on, girl. Bring it home. Tell them where we at. Bring them here. Let them know what we talking about.
Run it back, Zuri. Run it back.
So what happens when you're
Pass the
looking
ball.
what happens when you're looking in the mirror and your own discouragement is smiling back at you and lying to your own self and your own soul, right? So what happens when that happens? Do you still move forward? Do you still pivot, or do you double down and go to God and go to yourself, go within and look at yourself? Because that's the hardest person. Forget everybody else. Forget my mama, forget my brother, forget everybody who might be greeting me with discouragement. If I greet my own self in the mirror, I have a problem. I cannot move forward.
I'm not doing this with y'all. I'm not doing this.
It's nails in my feet and I cannot walk. Because
God, relax.
God created me.
We just talking.
God
we're just trying to have a
created me.
conversation. We're just trying to have a conversation.
I'm of His image, right?
Here she
So if
goes,
I'm discouraged and I'm smiling at myself and I'm fooling myself, I'm not fooling Him, right? So what happens then?
Zuri, there's nails in my feet and I cannot
there's nails in
walk.
that part. Come on, Lazarus. Here's what I'll say, man. I think, when I say discouragement is so bold, it greets you with a smile. I'm speaking from the space of like, everybody thought I was there. Oh, you making $110,000 a year. Oh, you doing this, and oh, you working for billionaires. You doing this and you doing that. You working for Louis Vuitton. And you got these and you got that. And I would set it all ablaze to peace. Peace comes. Peace. See, here's the thing. We think that money is wealth, right? But wealth is health. And we think that money is going to somehow afford you peace. Oh, when I make $150,000, when I make $200,000, I can afford to travel. I can afford to relax. Peace only comes in the full acceptance of you, right? The full acceptance of you. It's being able to look at yourself in the mirror and recognize that discouraging smile that's reflecting back to you, that's not me. That's not me. That's a shimmer of who I used to be. It's a reminder of where I have been. But that's not who I am today. And the only way you get there, my brother, is by knowing who you are. And the toughest thing, and I don't share this often, but I'll say it. The toughest thing for me in my life has been believing what God said about me.
Come on.
And developing my capacity to receive it.
Come on.
Because we think, it's going back to what I said, people will dismiss you. They will abuse you on the speculation of who you are. Seeing you as a Black man, seeing you as a Black woman, I have an idea and a narrative I need you to be to support my insecurity. And all the while, God loves and embraces you with all the evidence. Even if you taint it, you just skin it up. God is still there all the while. And I've just kind of gotten in the habit of leaning with God. If people want to leave my life, I say, you know what, let me grab your shoes for you. Let me just go ahead and open this door. It's been fun. Shout out to everybody. I had fun. I appreciate y'all for showing up. But it's time. Because, oh my God. Okay. So it's this thing that I get excited. And I'm trying to slow my words down because I've been him. I was a college dropout 3 times and now currently taking courses at Stanford, and it makes no sense for people. Like, well, why would you go back to school? I just want to get a degree per se. I just want to take these courses and learn. It's for me. It's not for you, right? And then you have the other people who are like, "Oh, you're Black and you're born in Stanford. What must that be?" I just log in. I just log in, take some classes, do some homework, read some books. It's what we do, you know. I think the greatest. I really wish I could just like shake him or them and just say to them like, "Bro, please don't please do not give up. Don't give up on who you are because we need that person. We need
Facts.
that person. We really do. We
Facts.
really do. There's a shortage of. There's a famine of dreams, right? There's a war on the individual in our present world, and I just as long as you can hear, I'll say it. As long as you can take it back and rewind it and hear me say it again, everything adds up. Nothing is wasted in your purpose in life. Nothing. And life is a journey. There is no single destination. And wherever you think you're going, you're probably closer to that space than you're giving yourself credit for. And you don't know who is looking at you, who is looking at you and saying, "Man, you want to do that, you can do that." A lot of times our struggles are not for us. They're for the people that God has placed us around. It's for the other fleas in the jar. God knew
Wrap,
Zuri was going to get out.
wrap it up. Bring
Oh
it
yeah,
full circle, Marcus. Come on
I'm
now.
done. I'm done. I'm good.
Cook.
I'm
Cook,
good. We
my
ain't we ain't
God.
even gotta. You know, we. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You know.
I'll tell y'all this. If this is a album, this a double disc for sure.
Oh
this
no.
a double disc. Like, nah, y'all gonna get the full tape. This a body of work.
No.
This was special
I just.
experience. And I want us to close it out with glows and grows. Hopefully,
Oh
we
yeah.
want you to go last, Marcus, so you can experience
For
everybody
sure.
else's, and we close it out with you
Sure.
strong. And then I'll ask you a couple of questions just to feed us into the next episode and as we move forward.
Yeah.
But glows and grows is, I'll explain it by giving my example. My glow right now is being able to be in London and experience family. Right, my niece that I got to see last year and was a baby, and she had the cutest mean mug in the world. If she don't know you, like, nah, I don't know you, son.
A
Like,
lot going on.
relax, chill.
There's a
Like,
lot
and
going
like,
on, bro.
I'm telling you, like, lip curl and everything.
You coming in doing too much. You
Yeah,
real big right now. Like,
I'm
relax.
telling you. And to be here now and to spend time, be able to spend like a full day. And last night, I'm just sitting there reading stories to her. And she's like, "No, I want Uncle to read me stories." And like, she's grabbing the books and putting it down. And she's still her, to see her personality. Right. I'm reading this story and I'm like, and the dinosaur goes, raw, and the whale is the whale is the cow with the sea. I got that from Finding Nemo. And I'm like, moo. And when I tell you, she looked at me and she's like, "No, that's not how whales do." I'm like, "No, 2 years old." She looked me dead in the face. Like, "No, you lost me." And any other animal noise I made after that is like, "You cannot be trusted." Whales are not cows of the sea.
She's like, "Siri, what sound does a whale make?"
Facts. Facts. So that's my glow, that experience. Whether she remembers it or not, I'll remember it forever. And old me wouldn't have valued that moment. It would have been a throwaway, even if I had it. But just being able to be a space in life where, like we talked about this whole episode, that is wealth. That is richness. That is fulfillment. So that's my glow, that specific moment. And my grow, full circle, Mr. Marcus Wiley, I'm trying to get like you. This specific moment where you're like, my ancestor, Benjamin Allen. Pour out some libations. I'm feeling blackety black right now. Like in the form of my protein shake, I'm telling you. He said, my ancestor was a slave, so I wouldn't have to be. Like, yes, it's in my DNA, it's in my memory, but what I pulled specifically out from it, there's a power in naming the person that shares your blood that came before you.
Yes, without question.
There's a power in giving their name and saying it out loud, knowing they made sacrifices for you. And I'm going to move forward. And my grow is next time I'm naming where I come from, I'm naming my father, my grandfather by name, first and last. They
Mhm.
did this, and that's why I moved this way. So
Mhm.
that's my grow, real tangible moving forward. I'm trying to get like you, and I'm going to get like you. I'm going to name my ancestors in moments like this.
Wow.
And the soundtrack to my glow and my grow is a Nigerian artist, Feels,
Okay.
Pheelz, and the song is YOLO. YOLO. So it's just it's hard to one line that's good. We only got one life. I've been living YOLO, and I be try for life. Sure, you see the logo and the rhythm of it. Like when I tell you a all out vibe,
Mm.
you know when somebody's just singing and you know they mean it.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
mean it. And I think that's what we love about music the most. And just in, and I guess I'll wrap mine up so I don't get too long-winded with Confucius. He said, every man has two lives. And the second begins when he realizes that he only has one.
That
I'm in a
part.
space where I fully realize I only got one life,
Mm.
right? I only got one. And every day I have to treat it this way. That's my glow and grow again. YOLO by Feels,
Mm.
Pheelz.
Hop in. My growth for this week. So I had a conversation with a friend, and they told me something about who I used to be back in the day, like during high school years. And it was a gut punch. You know, they told me that they wouldn't have been my friend back in the day during high school days. And at the time, that hurt my feelings, like in the moment, right? Because I'm looking at myself now where I'm so happy and glad with who I am. At the same time, the person who told me that did not know that also now I regret things that I did and just really who I was back in the day. So it was really a gut punch, but it's my grow because at the same time, I heard God say clear as day, like I'm of him. And I shouldn't be ashamed with any of my, areas in my life where I might not have been happy.
Mhm.
And it was a gut punch. At the same time, I found peace in knowing that I'm not who I was. I'm not that oblivious teenager. I'm not that person anymore. But I also appreciate and I still love that person when I was younger, even with the decisions that I made. And that was such a grow moment because in the same breath, in the same moment, it was regret, but also peace. It was shame, but also happiness. And I can't give myself that. Only God can. And he really showed up in that moment where even though a friend that I have now said that, it really jacked me up. Like, Zuri, you're good. You're more than good.
Mhm. Mhm.
You're loved because you love yourself. And, God loves me, and shows up for me more than anyone else ever will. So that's my growth, just being at peace, but also having those uncomfortable conversations. My glow is actually a part of the same situation. I kind of mix both of them together, but just my glow is being okay with looking in the mirror and just criticizing myself, but with love.
Mhm.
And knowing that I am on a journey that I appreciate now. It took me a while to appreciate it. Still feel like I can do better. Um, but just being in a space where I can look outside and see a leaf blowing, and I'm like, man, that leaf is blowing. That leaf be blowing, Like I wish I could have thought to create a leaf, like something so simple, but just so magnifying at the same time. So those are my growing glows. My soundtrack, I don't really have one. It's really just an indie R&B artist playlist that really Spotify curated for me.
Mhm.
That's my favorite type of music. I like the underdogs. That's my favorite type of story in life, period. So that transitions into my music. Um, And that actually couples with what I'm speaking of the conversation I had with a friend. Just that underdog kind of connotation, people see you might grow up, not saying you're on a big stage or a celebrity, or I'm not speaking of that. I'm speaking of just your mindset starts to change and people remember, things about you, but you've elevated. Definitely. So to wrap this up, I had an indie R&B playlist that just got my whole life. I mean, it went from Sir, it went from this guy named Dijon that I just found about, and that's such a beautiful feeling, coming up on something new that makes you feel refreshed, and you just appreciate the journey that they tell through the music. So that's my growing glowing playlist.
My grow is something that I think this episode helped me with that a little bit, and also preparing for the episode helped me with. And um, I think succinctly put is that wealth is health.
Mm.
That wealth is more than um, money. And I guess I knew that already, but I think what this has been, why this is a grow for me, is because I work my ass off to make sure that I am organized and that I am prepared for the moment. One of the quotes I've had to learn the hard way, is always be ready. So when that opportunity comes, you don't have to get ready. You're ready. I work very hard to stay ready all the time. And that means putting in extra hours just to make sure that you're mentally organized, that you have good systems, that you're able to anticipate and just like be efficient with your time. And I go out my way and I do all this stuff, yet there's still days where I just don't get shit done. And I wonder, I'm like, why am I being lazy? Why am I running away from this stuff? Like, why am I not just getting the shit done? And it took me to really sit with it, um, to recognize that like the answer isn't in the lack of preparation. It's not
Mm.
in the lack of desire. It's not in the lack of commitment. But there's other things that are going on behind the scenes with my body that are preventing me from getting in that flow state, that are making things that normally don't require that much work to drag on. And it's been a process to kind of figure out, like it can be so easy to demoralize yourself, to talk bad about yourself, to question what the heck is wrong with you, bro? Why are you being lazy right now? And it's not always that. It's not always that simple. It's not always so straightforward. There's a complexity that comes with that. And I feel like I don't have my finger exactly on it, but in spirit, I'm being pulled to address the vessel, which is the body, that like something's not right. Something's not allowing you, and you got to pay attention. And so I think when I think about, productivity, I think about filling my buckets, I think about wealth. um Sometimes I can be very narrowly focused, and there's a lot more to this life. There's a lot more to success than just one bucket, than just being efficient, than just working, than just etc. So the grow is to address all the buckets, or to at least address the one that's tugging on me right now, the one that's not allowing the current and the osmosis to work efficiently. The glow, um, I think the glow is. I'm really excited. I feel like I'm moving into a chapter of my life where I'm meeting the people. I'm meeting the right people. I spent a long time doing the inner work, doing the deep work. Um, and what I'm excited about for this new season that I'm stepping into is getting in community with the people. Um, I feel like there's only a certain level that I can get to through bootstrapping, through busting my ass, and then there gets to a point where you need people. And I've always known that, but it's like I'm excited to get into those rooms, to meet those people, to make the connections, and just to collaborate to make God's work happen. There's a lot more that can be done together alone. So that's been where I've found success in my life thus far, and I'm excited to double down on that. My soundtrack is Young Gunna Gunna. Um, it's off of his new album Fuck You Mean, or not. That's not the album, but the song is Fuck You Mean, and
Nah, that's one of them ones.
it's one of them ones. And
Yeah.
I mean, I like trap music. You know, that's that Atlanta in me, that West Side Atlanta. I love me some trap music. And all the controversy that's going on with Young Thug, Rico Case, YSL, Gunna. What I can say is I personally love it when artists go through shit and they choose to use creativity as their outlet, because it brings a different energy. It adds a different meaning to the work of art. You know, you can see the chaos, you can see the frustration, you could, and that energy is what we all enjoy. You know, it's like when an artist has energy behind a song, they're not just going through the motions. It's not just like going with the trends. Bro's really pissed, you know, and like I've been feeding off of that energy. It's just like, nah, fuck you mean. Put some respect on my name.
Yeah.
That part.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. My grow, that is glow, right? My grow, will probably have to be sharing space with you all. I have not always been so I won't say accessible, but I've not always been so open. Um, you know, part of stoicism is thought. You know, part of my composition is just kind of inward facing. I think you can get so focused on doing the work that you forget how to enjoy it. And I think, you know, one of the things that resonated so deeply with me about what Kamau was saying is, you know, the buckets. I think there's, you know, you could break that down many different ways, but I think in hindsight, what this moment has kind of like encapsulated for me is I got so busy surviving life that I really didn't give myself the space to live it. And in some ways you forget how to when you're so accustomed to just surviving the vicissitudes of the day. So yeah, my growth moment is definitely sharing space with you all. And I think that will also serve as my glow moment. Um, this space has been very affirming. It's been very confirming. And it's presented me with the space to share with like-minded people, and to start a dialogue that doesn't end, you know? Um, I think knowledge is eternal, and I think wisdom is its vessel. You know, it's one of those things where I, I've been so fortunate in my life to really fuck it up and to really allow the knowledge to turn into mistakes, and the mistakes to birth wisdom. And then I've been given the grace to circle back and apply those things. And that just causes me to be a bit more grateful for times such as this. My soundtrack, mean, know that I have one in particular. I have two that I listen to probably every day, or I have listened to every day for the past couple of weeks. One is by Tasha Cobbs Leonard. God knows my, well, he knows my name. It's like God knows my name. And that does something to me. That really does something to me because, you know, I was raised very conservatively, very conservative. Like Jesus did it, full stop. And I just learned in life that there was so much more than that. That the Bible was not a pamphlet. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't. There's just so much more, and it really and God knowing my name, what it really solidified for me is that God speaks my language, and that that removed the performative defensiveness that I think I moved through life with for the greater portion of my adulthood in defending God and defending my faith and all of those things. And I've learned that if God speaks my language, then He speaks yours as well.
Mhm.
Oh,
And that there is no defense required for my faith because God is a mystery and He must be revealed. So I can't explain them. I can't teach them. You just have to have that experience. And so the grace that I've received is the grace that I offer. So that song, that one by Tasha Cobb, and another one by Tribe Called Quest, because 90s all day. I actually like the entire Midnight Marauders album. Like legitimately just play that on loop in the background. I think Electric Relaxation is probably my favorite track right now. So between those two, that's kind of where my space is. This guy, I can't tell you how amazing this space has been to share with you guys. And I truly do hope to the listeners that they're able to see that, they're seen, they're affirmed, they matter, that there's so much love that exists for them. I believe that strangers are reflections of God, and that if you're within
Oh,
yourself, you're never alone. And so I just want to encourage them to really take what we've offered as our expression of truth, and take what we've offered as our expression of truth, and explore your own and share that, because people need to know that they matter. So this has been great. I definitely just want everybody out there to just feel the love, just feel the love, and just know that you're so much closer than you think you are to wherever the there is in your mind. You're so much closer. And my final thing is, what would you do with yes? If the answer was yes, what would you do with it? So just ask yourself that. What would you
I
do
like that.
with yes? Because we live in no, we
Yeah.
defend no, we expect no. But what would you do with yes? What would you
Come
do
on.
if the answer was yes? Are you prepared for yes? And if not, talking about the gentleman about the coding job, get prepared for yes. Because it comes it like that. God will move you like that. And you'll go from spaces that you've never ever thought you'd ever be in. So just, get prepared for yes. And what would you do with it?
So that being said, I'm gonna have two acts for you. So one is, who would you like to see on this show? With the caveat of we probably gonna need your help getting this specific person that you know on the show. So who would you like to see on this show?
Oof. The person that comes to mind, if I'm being candid, I don't know that he would even have the time. Um, but it's my very, 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 very close person to me. I'm lenient I won't say lenient, but I'm hesitant on sharing his name, because the same man taught me that sharing your friends is the quickest way to losing them.
Mm,
Um, mentioning names is how you get the room gets smaller as you get
yeah,
higher on the ladder.
yeah.
But I will
Jeez.
definitely, I will say that he is.
No, it's just a gem. It's just a
It's having a
bar.
conversation, but
Yeah.
it's real, man. It's real. If you value your friends, name dropping is not necessary. And
Hmm.
if you value the relationships you've built, okay, I gotta say this. Let's talk about building relationships and not designing them. We can save that for another time. We don't
Yeah,
have to do that now for sure. But if you value what you've built, you protect that. And so I would like to see him on here. I don't think that's going to happen.
that's real.
So that's that. But I could try. I
Yeah,
could for sure. Listen,
yeah,
I'm all
yeah.
about being a bridge. I could try to be a
Beautiful.
bridge. I could try to be a bridge.
Okay.
I could try to be a bridge. Okay.
So be a
Mhm.
bridge, name pending. Let's say the name. Say like hold on to the name. Like if you want to, if that like makes you feel comfortable, hold on to the name and then
Kamau
be a
knows the
bridge.
name.
Oh,
I mean, I can't give the name on air,
yeah,
but
yeah,
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 we'll talk. We'll talk.
yeah. Say less. Say less.
Say less.
So
And the
so
other,
that's the first. And the other one is, please plug your coaching services,
oh
where they can
wow, okay.
find you, where they can be
Mhm.
blessed by you. Please.
Yeah. So I do coaching. I do executive coaching. I coach and develop leadership, small visionaries, entrepreneurs, people just like you and I. I help them unpack the layers in their mind that they have put on top of themselves. Um, I really just guide them through thought, innovation, and design. So that would be executive coaching. I do creativity coaching and agile coaching. I've studied spiral dynamics, I'm really big into processes and systems of thought. And so yeah, my company is called the Wiley Company, where it's literally think, innovate, lead. Little selfish plug there. You can find me on Instagram. It's at the Wiley Company. But thanks to these guys, I have one now. So that's happening. I lived in the shadows, but now the world knows. And yeah, please, I would love to help in any way. My life's purpose is birthing dreamers, and I really want to really pursue that. So if you have any questions or need anything coaching wise, for sure, you can find me at the Wiley Company, or Wiley at the Wiley Company is my email. If you go to my IG, there's a link for the inquiry form for coaching and a link to my website.
Beautiful. Hey, thank you for being on here. So, like, we really want to be respectful for your time. You've given us so much gems, like Zuri, Kamau. Just, I'm honored to be in this space too. And I don't think I say that enough. Like, it's a blessing to be in this space with y'all, to get to digest everything that you've provided in this space. And I hope our listeners take the time to do that as well. And I want to say to all the listeners, to all of you, if you haven't heard it today, you are loved so exceedingly, more than you will ever understand. And hopefully you feel a portion of that today. And as you move forward in life, may every pivot you have be followed by a proceed. We love y'all.
Peace.